That's right, everybody. Viva Las Vegas. Welcome to another edition of Time to Vegas, coming to you live from Go Live Vegas Studios in the heart of Las Vegas. Smoky, Mars-like looking Las Vegas. We thank you for tuning in. We got a lot going on. Gypsy G on the far end here. How are you, Miss Gypsy?
I am wonderful.
Can you do me a favor and take that first button closest to me and just turn it down a smidge, a little more.
A smidge.
Thank you very much.
Like
You'll notice sitting in here on the dais with us is our technical advisor, a man many of you may not recognize in person.
That's right.
But I'm sure a couple of voices here and there, especially his number one most impersonation of our current president. Please welcome John D. Domenico.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning. Very excited to be here. I feel great.
You look good.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
your
you.
hairstyle.
Thank you. It's very very manageable, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Don't have to worry about these high winds.
No.
Right? Marked safe.
That's right. Marked safe from the hair winds. Yeah. Hey, listen, as always, everybody, while you're there in the chat room, we thank you, whether you're watching us on any of the platforms, GoLive.Vegas, Go Live Vegas, the downloadable app, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch. I'm not sure if
Etch-a-Sketch.
Is that 7? Etch-a-Sketch.
Whatever we're on.
Whatever we're on. We are on. And, of course, we are live streaming across our watch parties. I've got one up. I think John's got one. Yep. Gypsy's got one. Aaron E's got one.
We are here.
So, as always, I know you're going to want to talk to John throughout the show. 702-329-6947 if you're within the United States. If you're outside the U.S., and you want to be told what to do by the president or Austin Powers or whatever, you can do it as well. 1-855-502-4321. Also, please, our Twitter feed is up. It is active. Send a live tweet. Will appear live on the screen, but you must use the hashtag Time2Vegas. That is the number 2, Time2Vegas. And as always, chat rooms are being monitored. So welcome, everybody, to today's show. Buckle your seatbelt because I have a funny feeling that this is going to be a wild ride today with our guest.
We're on the air. I feel like I should be doing Larry King Live, 6 wives, 7 heart attacks. Garlic, it's unique. Coming up, Tom Hanks' hairdresser for the full hour.
Oh, wow.
See, we don't know what's going to happen. That's what's really cool. All right, Gypsy, how are you? How's your week been since we last met?
I'm good. You know, I dodged most of the holiday weekend traffic, but it was nice to see that Vegas was packed.
Yeah.
There was some action out there, and yay! And then, of course, the Californians took 20 hours and drove home.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nice that they do that, though. That they come in, spend the money. It's great. I learned that 26% of all the business prior to COVID was Southern Californians, and now I think it's like 80%.
Sure, well, they're the only ones that can comfortably get here. California, Arizona, if you're within driving distance. My dad drove back from L.A. He was visiting family there. He said coming home, it literally only took 4 hours. He left about 1:30, got home about 5:30. But he says once you're on the road, you can't see anything because of all the smoke, and I know we'll touch on that here in a few minutes. So, it's like driving in a blizzard. You can't see.
Yeah, and on any given good weekend back in the day, if you went through the parking lots at the casino, always 80 to 90% of the cars had California plates.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, weekend warriors, we love
Woo-hoo!
you.
Well, now we'll see what happens next in Vegas because we don't have any conventions. We don't have any live football games that'll be taking place. We have, we'll see. This is the time, and it's coming back up again, Gypsy. What else can Las Vegas fall back to? Because we're known obviously for gaming and entertainment, but if this doesn't come back,
I don't know about fallback, but here, let's jump ahead. Hey, fallback, and we're going into fall, right?
We are going into fall, which is unbelievable. This year, even though we're in COVID, every day seems like Monday and every day seems like Sunday, but yet it's flying by.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's just
crazy.
It's bizarre.
Crazy.
Right? If you don't have like an appointment booked, you're like, what
day is it?
Who cares? Okay, it's daylight. I'll do
That's
something.
Right. I know this day ends in Y. That's about all I know about today, right?
Yeah, exactly. We know the sun's going to set.
That's
right. No, we don't know that.
We don't know that.
Not
today.
We don't.
So we'll get back to the fires in a minute, but getting innovated in Vegas, this was kind of cool. I read about something called Weed on Wheels.
Oh.
Right? Yes. Woo!
Do you do Cheech and Chong?
Yeah, I was just about to say, this goes right back to Cheech and Chong. This is like Cheech and Chong's dream.
It totally, you legally don't have to leave your car, but you do have to put in your order ahead of time. So I called the Thrive stores, the Thrive Cannabis stores.
Isn't that the adult store, Thrive? Oh, no, that's something
That's a
else.
different.
No,
It's a different store.
That's a different
That's
drive
probably
up.
the, yeah.
That's Throb.
That's right.
Hey, you should get a drive-through too. We'll work on that, right?
That's right.
That way people can keep their hats down. So they have 2 locations, one on Cheyenne and Simmons and one on Sahara and Valley View. The one on Cheyenne and Simmons has a drive-through. It's for after hours.
Oh.
You call in your order. You have to be 21 or older with the valid ID. Prior to that, they'll do curbside service, so you still don't have to leave your car. But here's the kicker, the brilliant part of marketing: on certain days, and you have to call and find out when, if you spend over $60, you get a free pizza. So they already fulfill the lunch you need.
Nice.
There's a pizza truck in the parking lot.
That's
Now,
freaking brilliant.
you guys coming from the East Coast as well.
Yeah.
Who remembers White Castle, right? That was always the go-to when you had the munchies, was the White Castle burgers. Not that I would know.
That was in
but
the Northeast. We actually
Right.
didn't have those in Florida.
You didn't have them in Florida?
So, no, so that was a
not
summer
even in the
thing.
frozen section, the frozen hamburger section?
After a while, but not like
Oh,
in the
okay.
super
Yeah,
heyday.
there were
no.
always. If I had a booking in New York and was driving back, there was a White Castle on the way back to New Jersey or
Right.
Philly, and yeah, it was easy to
Buy a sack, right?
Exactly,
Sack of
yeah.
12.
You buy them, and then you feel horrible.
Wait, then you get a shake that cements your
Right.
stomach down. That's right. 100% right.
It's like it's dairy, bread, meat, and cheese. It's like you're
What
wiped
could go
out.
wrong?
Yeah, really.
And they're still in the frozen section too,
Yes, they
aren't
are.
they?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But we have two locations,
crazy.
I think, now in Vegas. One on the Strip
Yeah.
and one close to the Fremont area, I believe. I believe is where the second one is.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, that's right.
When that one on the Strip opened, I don't know if they did a giveaway or y'all Northeasterners are just cray-cray, because people waited in line like 24 hours for a little tiny
That's right.
burger.
I think people are just dying for any kind of stepping back into any kind of connection to their childhood or a time that's simpler and
Yeah.
something they can remember, that nostalgia of a place.
Yeah,
You
for me,
know?
there better be a concert ticket at the end of a 24-hour line. I'm just saying. And maybe some weed on wheels, right?
I love the concept. I mean, listen, we know the marijuana sales in the industry. There's always conspiracy theories about where the money goes in the budgets, and it's not going to the education fund like it's supposed to. But look at the way our society has changed. This was so no, poo, keep it over there. Now all of a sudden we've got drive-throughs, home delivery, and it's acclimated itself to normal commerce right now.
But still, federally, it's that's why everything has to be cash.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. They can't deposit any of that money. So
Right.
I don't want to wish
Yeah.
ill will on anybody, but it's unfortunate. But I'm sure they've got invested with somebody somehow.
Yes.
Exactly. So speaking of burning weed, let's
Yes.
go to a much more severe burning weed
Oh, my goodness.
event. So it turns out some of these fires are started by gender reveal parties. That's crazy. That's crazy because it's not new.
No, it's not. And as we're talking about that, folks, you're going to see some
Seeing
pictures
these
that were
images.
posted on Facebook earlier this morning of our valley, and I reshared these pictures, letting everybody know we're not looking at Mars here. This is how bad and how thick the smoke is, and it got worse, I think, coming into it because we've got winds today. We're dropping 30
Yeah.
degrees from yesterday to today. Huge 35 to 40 mile an hour winds coming into town. This smoke will only get worse throughout the next couple of days.
And on my way here, I was mentioning that huge branches on trees.
How big?
No one drops branches the way our trees drop branches. Let me tell you. Blocking the roads.
There it is.
Yeah, it would no, but it was. These are really severe, high winds, and they're dangerous because
Yes.
you got
Yeah.
trash cans and pieces of trash, and everything's flying around. And
Just a couple of quick
just be
shout outs in
careful
the
out
chat
there.
room. If you're listening, Chief Thomas Glenn's out there, Kathy Spivey, my buddy Steve from New Jersey. Speaking of Jersey, Mike Addington, thank you all for joining. Please reshare the post. John D. Domenico joining us here in studio, the man behind the #1 impersonation of our current president, Mr. Donald Trump. And I'm sure if you.
I wasn't sure you were going to say his name. Wow.
Well, it is.
He took the long way.
No, well, yeah, I mean, he is.
Our current president?
That's right. No. I'll
Good
say it.
morning, everybody. So excited to be here. I have to I love Las Vegas. You know what? The greatest thing about Las Vegas, it doesn't matter where you're from. This town's the complete opposite. Complete opposite. It's amazing.
I understand, Mr. President. I understand, Mr. President, you're actually coming into Vegas later this week.
I'm coming in on Saturday. I'm going to Reno in the morning, and I'll be here in Las Vegas Saturday night. And it's so great. I just pull in, get out of the plane, do my speech, and I leave. We've really perfected this.
There
It's
you go.
incredible.
Meals,
But of course, we have the great Trump Tower Hotel right on the Strip here in Las Vegas. Remember, if it's not a Trump hotel, it's a dump hotel. And by the way, you know, you stay at my hotel. It's a fantastic hotel. We have the wettest water on the Strip. So if it's
good.
very hot, wettest water. You can't get that anywhere else. We had it imported from wetland.
Especially in Vegas, having the wettest water is
The
very
wettest
important.
water is so
Yeah.
important. A lot of people they don't think about that, but I think about that because I'm a detail guy.
You are,
Detail
Mr.
guy.
President. All right, with that, you know what? I think it's a good time we take a break.
Let's do
Let's
it,
do it.
baby.
Let's
All right,
do
let's
it.
do it. You're watching Time to Vegas right here in Go Live Vegas.
Yeah, baby.
That is Gypsy G. I'm Aaron P. We got Aaron E. And now we have John D.D. with us. We'll be back in 60 seconds. Are you looking for someone to provide training to your sales staff? Do you need a motivational speaker about how to handle change? Do you have an upcoming event that needs an MC to handle those responsibilities? Well, look no further than longtime Las Vegas radio personality Aaron Phillips. I am local to Las Vegas and I can blend my talents with any audience. For more information, please visit www.aaronphillipsvoice.com and book me for your next event or training needs.
Hello, everyone. As we've now learned, a number of world leaders have tested positive for coronavirus. Well, my test was negative, as you all know. In fact, it was so negative that the doctors said they never saw a negative number so low, so low. They said it was beautifully negative. They were very impressed. It was perfect. It was perfectly negative, tremendously negative. Actually, they've never seen a test this negative before in history. And my doctor, he said it best. It was the greatest negative score of anyone who's ever taken the coronavirus test. You know, other people have tested negative, but no one's tested close to where I tested in the negative spectrum of negativity. And that's what I've been told. I've also been told by my doctors that this is going right into the textbooks. That's not me saying that. That's the doctors. It's the medical people. I'm going right into the textbooks because of my unique negative to the coronavirus.
All right, welcome back to Time to Vegas. Aaron P, Gypsy G, John D.D., John Double D.
Double D.
Double D, double
Aaron
D.
E.
Now that's Vegas, baby.
That's right. All right. Formality, as I always like to do, to welcome all of our guests. John D. Domenico is one of the busiest and hardest working corporate entertainers and character actors in the U.S. John specializes in thoroughly evaluating his client's mission, objectives, and goals, and then strategically customizing his highly unique brand of powerful content-driven comedy to specifically fit his client's productions, whether John is writing, directing, performing, MC, game show host, you name it, he's always there. He consistently exceeds his client's expectations. John's mission is to bring life's experiences. Wait, I think I just skipped it. The perfect blend of experience, talent, creativity, and reliability has led him to an amazing array of events, life experiences, outstanding performances, and John's passionate approach to making every event spectacular, meaningful, and memorable has kept him in high demand. Please officially welcome John D. Domenico.
Thank you. I'm coming here every day.
That's what you like that? I read it just the way you wrote it.
Sound fantastic.
Is your volume up on your phone? I'm hearing somebody's phone feedback in my ear,
Oh,
so I don't know if somebody's
me.
phone is still on. There you go.
There we go.
I thought so. All right.
I'm busy watching me. This is fantastic. I just can't get enough of me today.
That's
You're
okay.
everywhere.
I'm everywhere. I'm on 9 screens, my phone.
That's right,
This is
you are.
awesome. But thank you. That's a wonderful introduction that I wrote.
You did. I took it right off your website, which, by the way, is www.johnnyd.net. And, of course, you can find him on Facebook. And really just type in Trump impersonator, and you'll see 9 million videos of him up there. And every one of them is as funny as they come in terms of what you do regarding impersonating our current president and many more. You know, obviously we know Trump is your number one that you're most recognized for. All right, somebody's audio is still up, so I don't know whose it is. I'm hearing it in the background. That's just me. It's not mine. I've already checked mine 4 times. So, all right. Anyway, it's gone. Okay. So
quick, this is the interview.
Okay. No, it's still back there. All right. Anyway, we'll just keep going forward because it's just causing me like the echo effect.
I might shut this off.
But that's okay. No,
Yeah,
you're fine. Okay, so, all right, I'm going to ask some basic questions.
Right.
I always like starting slow. I know you're East Coast originally.
Right.
I want to skip
Philly
past
guy.
that. Philly guy. Are you an Eagles fan?
Yeah. I think it's kind of inbred. It's ingrained. Phillies.
Well, we want to thank John G. Domenico for
Sixers.
coming on the show
All right,
today.
thank you, everybody.
As a Giants
Good
fan, I don't know I
night.
can tolerate this. No, but seriously, so the general question I'm going to ask, though, is how did you get into this? How did you know doing voices, and how did you start all of that? What was the aha moment?
The aha
What the hell
moment.
are you thinking?
What the hell are you thinking? Hold on, I can hear it too.
Aaron, do you have any feedback on the phones? Because we're not here. It's all of ours. We're all done.
Okay.
All
Anyway, the way it started was I was a big canned ham, like at 5 years old, but I had a severe speech impediment
Okay.
as a child. But I would watch television. I would watch Ed Sullivan and Mike Douglas and all these shows.
Mike Douglas.
Yeah, and
Jeez.
I loved comedians, and I loved Frank Gorshin and John Biner and all of these guys. And David Fry was a huge influence on me. And I would see them, and I would retain it, and then I'd walk out to my neighbors, and this is the late 60s in Ambler, Pennsylvania, where I grew up, and everyone would be sitting outside. These were row homes, like in South Philly or
Almost like brownstone style? Where they're
not as nice as that. I wish. But, it was typical South Philly row homes, which were there, rows and rows and rows of hundreds of them. And this was in Ambler, but it was very much like South Philly. And my neighbors would be sitting out, and I would come out and go, as a 5-year-old, go, now, right here in our shoe, the fabulous Garbacho brothers and Girl Scout Troop 625. Girls, stand up and show us your cookies. So,
and in Philly, that can mean a whole lot of
a
different
lot of
things.
things, yeah. And that
exactly.
was, it was the beauty of John Biner's material. I just
sure.
thought, but I could do Humphrey Bogart, and I could, worked on all the voices all the time. And I had a speech impediment, so I knew something was off in my mouth. People told me, I didn't know it. But when I did the voices, there was no hint of the impediment. And I went into speech therapy. I was in speech therapy from 1st grade to 8th grade, and I would go 2 times a week for those 8 years. And it was a big help. And what the speech pathologists were doing, they didn't know this. They were correcting my speech, but they were teaching me the mechanics of how to do other voices.
Wow.
And they would literally hold my face because I wasn't pronouncing something right. But they would say, but ironically, the speech pathologists were from Philadelphia, so I ended up with a Philadelphia accent, which I had to go take accent reduction as an adult because of my home, alone, phone, those Phillyisms, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
Only people from Philadelphia can't say Philadelphia. Philadelphians say Philadelphia.
Right, they just
They
combine
literally
everything.
say Philadelphia.
That's right.
Oh,
Going
I'm
to a
gonna
show
have
in Philadelphia.
I never caught that.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And my mom would go, the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's right.
And she would also say, I don't like your attitude. It was all these weird pronunciations that I had to learn not to do as a performer.
Well, that's like the Northeast with the
Wow.
Boston accent, car in the garage,
yeah.
all of that.
Baltimore, New York, there was these little, almost regionalisms.
Right.
It was, you could cross one area from the Philadelphia area, go to the North Jersey, which sounded like the New York accent, but it wasn't. And then you'd go to New York City, they had one, and then you would go to Brooklyn, and they would have another one. All this is kind of filtering out over time.
Right.
But
My wife was born in the Bronx before moving to Vegas, moving to Jersey, and she, coffee, sauce on
Yeah.
the pasta. She can't get rid of that.
my fiance Michelle,
Brooklyn accents don't go away.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
They don't.
my mom still has it.
yeah,
Yeah.
my fiance Michelle will still say H2O, and I'll go water.
Right. Right. Water.
Yeah, water.
Right.
Water. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, because it just comes out like water. Water.
WOODER.
Everybody from Philly says there's wood in water. Water.
Was Sullivan your first voice?
Sullivan, yeah, it was my first
Well,
voice.
it's a relatively easy voice, isn't it?
And here's why. Everybody on his show did him. So I'm thinking, oh, everyone's doing him. He must be now right here on our show. And you kind of figure out, like, what's the different sound and where's that sound coming in right here. So it was always like figuring out where the different things are. And when I break down a voice, I like to try to do it like at least 8 elements, like the throat placement, the nasal placement, the actual vocal production, which was a really big part of the speech therapy. Where's the voice being, someone, and Trump's perfect because all these elements come into play with him because it's really how you form the words and the pronunciation and the over pronunciation and the nasality from the Northeast. You know what I'm talking about? Absolutely. And that kind of whisper.
That's right.
That whisper, the thing he does. So all those things kind of come into him. And someone like Austin Powers, which is a fictitious character, baby, is an amalgamation of a bunch of different things, baby. Yeah.
Gypsy, I see some messages up on the prompter. Why don't you share them?
Okay. June Hansen says...
Jane Hansen.
Oh, Jane. Sorry, I'm looking over here
Jane
at my
Hansen.
friend June. Are you sure it's Jane? Because that might be my friend June. Hi, June, if it's you. Hi, Jane, if
Jane,
it's
June.
you. Thank you for making me laugh and smile this morning,
Thank you,
John.
Jane. I'll be right over.
Hey, I have her address.
Oh, it is June.
Good.
There was a typo.
Oh,
Except
June.
for
Sorry,
your
June.
fiancé
June,
part.
as soon as I'm done with Jane, I'm going to be right over.
Boom, it's going to be a busy
Typo
day.
error on the
Gidget
prompter.
lip.
Don Bovey. Hey, Don. John, you crack her up. That's a good thing.
Thank
'cause,
you.
I
Thank
know
you.
Don loves to
That is
laugh.
my goal in life, to make people laugh.
All right, you guys, if you have questions, call in. No matter who the questions are for. They could be for Austin Powers. They could be for Trump. They could
As
be
for any of the
Columbo.
characters.
I have a whole.
Columbo.
That's one of my favorites.
I loved him.
I loved Peter Falk. And I just love the way, that whole thing with the eye. Folks, I hate to bother you. And that was in the days.
Just one more thing.
Yeah. Oh, that was my favorite. That was my. Oh, okay. Well, I've got to go. One more thing, sir. When I got here, you said you were a vegetarian, but you're eating a ham sandwich. You're under arrest. It was like they nailed him on the most simple thing, and the police just arrested him. There was and they would always be like, "You got me, Columbo. You got me." I always, But he was something interesting. And talking about voices.
Peter Falk, by the way, his name just came to me.
Peter Falk was doing a Humphrey Bogart impersonation.
Oh, okay.
So he was talking about, I think it was on Carson one time, but he said, the way that Bogey talked, he loved that lower register. So when he started, and his voice was very close to that anyway, but he basically made sure he was kind of doing more of a Humphrey Bogart kind of thing.
Gets the eyes.
Got to do the eye. Got to do the eye. And I just thought that was very interesting because even someone like that, and then later on, years later, I remember Hank Azaria was talking about some of the voices he does on The Simpsons, and their voices it's a modified impersonation of someone else, or it's a bad impression of this, and that's how a lot of these voices come about. Because I'm always looking for how to put a voice together, and Trump is actually an amalgamation of a couple of different things, because when I was studying Trump early on, I was trying to figure out, because no one talks like this guy. And I was thinking, well, who else is from Queens?
Okay.
Oh, well, the only other actor I knew that came to mind was Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
And Walken does the same thing that Trump does. There's no punctuation. And the words, wow, all kind of run together. So if you take that staccato style from Walken and you apply it to Trump, so you can it's a bridge. You can kind of bridge the two voices.
I don't think a lot of people realize the art behind it, as opposed to just lucking out and sounding like someone, right? And maybe picking up a few of the body language keys. I mean, when you say you break it down to the nasal, the throat.
Because you're always
looking.
Yeah, you're really looking for what makes it. And when back in '91, when Mike Myers introduced Wayne from Wayne's World, all right, excellent. Hi, I'm Wayne Campbell from Aurora, Illinois. Swing. All right. And then when Mike Myers came out with any of the other characters, I knew I could do those simply because we're in the same genetic range, voice-wise. So it was so great when he brought in Austin Powers and Dr. Evil. Scott, you're just not evil enough. You're quasi-evil. You're semi-evil. You're the Diet Coke of evil. Just 1 calorie.
That's I want to. I mean, there's just so many questions that are just popping.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my underground lair.
There you go. What's the hardest voice?
The hardest voice, I love doing. I love doing Leno, and he's a great guy. Hey guys, how you doing? Good to see you. But with him, it's always like a bunch of one-liners. So it's kind. I'm really holding on to him,
right?
Because he's changing within the joke. So I find him to be somewhat difficult. And he also has a speech impediment. So when I broke his voice down, I saw the impediment first. I heard the impediment.
Okay.
He does that thing,
Yeah, he does have that little lispy.
Little bit of thing. So
Yeah.
I'm always looking for like someone's impediment, like kind of first.
Right.
A lot of people, and then there's other people, someone like Regis Philbin,
Right.
who talks right through his nose. You know what I mean? He's got that thing when he goes on, and he bunkles. So you're always just looking for the cadence, the nasality, the throat. Anybody in the Northeast I can usually do, and then I'm always trying to expand. And we were talking about Clinton before, and somebody like Bill Clinton. The thing is he's got that thing where he kind of runs out of oxygen and just keeps talking forever because that's the way he is. And and then someone like Barack Obama, he's got that little bit of Chicago in there. That's right.
Wow. Which brings me to a question, but you're deep.
I was just going to do a reset. That's all, because I'm not going to go to break. I want to keep going. So I just want to remind everybody, you are watching Time to Vegas this morning right here on Go Live Vegas, or listening to us on any of the other apps. Our phone numbers are right there on the screen, but if you're listening and you can't see us, that doesn't help you very much. So 702-329-6947. Make sure you press 1 to come right into the studio, and you can bypass the messages. Come right into the studio. Our special guest this morning is John D. Domenico, man of many, I won't say 1,000 voices, but I think somebody already uses that.
Yeah.
But many voices, and one prominent in impersonating our current president, Donald Trump, which we'll get to in a little bit. I'm saving that for last, because obviously that's the big conversation right now, but
right.
I wanted to stay away from that for right now. Go ahead, Gypsy,
Sure.
you had a question.
And now we know what a reset is, because I'm like, what?
What you talking about?
I'm teaching her along the way.
Yep. I'm just here to look pretty and have some fun. Hey! So,
Just came in from the beach.
I'm telling you, right? What was my question? Oh, so because you mentioned Barack Obama, I watched that video of yours on YouTube. You guys got to go Google this, where you're consistently calling Barack.
Oh, yeah, that was Conan O'Brien. Yeah.
Okay, we were wondering whose voice that was.
Okay, that is Ben Campbell. He is a DJ in
We
Arizona.
actually have that. We're going to play it a little later.
Yeah, and
God.
I was really lucky. Once the whole thing, I don't want to get too far ahead, but they hired me and I made a bunch of appearances. But that whole series, I think we did well over 100 of those, because some of them are really, really quick. But it was so much fun. And a lot of times when you do voiceover stuff, it's pieces. We did those live for real timing.
Right.
And I had asked for that. I'm sure Ben did too, because it really helps.
Oh, absolutely.
To really keep the
The
energy.
rhythm.
Comedians
And the
want to
rhythm.
be, to keep that. You want that. You want to have that to really nail it.
Right.
And it was so great doing those, and they were so well written. And I feel so lucky to have made as many appearances, like over 50 appearances. And in fact, I'm going to be on Conan tonight. I recorded a bit last week, and it's supposed to air tonight. You never, things get bumped.
That's
but
right.
I'm supposed to be on
right.
tonight, Tuesday.
Right on.
Well,
And
from Time to
Tonight,
Vegas
Tuesday.
to Conan, congratulations.
That's right. Nice step up.
That's
If
right.
you too want to go from Time to Vegas
Right.
to Conan, just become a guest. I do want to remind everybody, as we talk about certain political figures, we'll talk about things that what we're talking about, what John does, it's not necessarily political. It's
No,
satire
absolutely not.
on what's going on. It's fun. It's intended to bring a smile and a laughter. It is not intended to be a political statement one way or another, yes, no, Democrat, Republican. It's meant to be fun and put a smile on your face. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for me,
Yeah.
because I have no political agenda. I don't believe in. For me, I'm an entertainer. I was, old school entertainer, and I want to entertain the entire audience, 100%
Right
of
on.
the audience. And when I was doing Totally Outrageous at the SLS, which is now the Sahara, I would have pro-Trump people come up to me afterwards and say, "That was great. That was really funny." And then I would have the opposite, and
Right.
that was great. I'm entertaining everybody.
That's right. That's right.
So-
That's
Now-
how I felt. Sorry about
No, go ahead.
that video that I watched.
Right.
And I used to want to be a comedian. I didn't know one of the punchlines that was coming. I'm like, oh my God, it got me. It's like, it was awesome.
And that's the
Yeah.
great thing about, comedy like that, the element of surprise when you think you're going this way and then all of a sudden it goes this way.
Totally.
There was something that, Gypsy, you had said earlier about two elements and things about how to do a voice. What I'm noticing, not only the voice, and some impersonators, they stand out a mic and they'll just do a voice as part of their routine.
Right.
But you notice he's got the gestures of the people he's doing as
Yes.
part of that. So really adds to the illusion.
Right, and that's what. Yeah, because I'm really trained as an actor.
Right.
And that means That's why I go for the really expensive wigs and the wardrobe.
Right.
To me, I want you to buy in to the illusion that I'm creating, and I want to minimize anything that's going to pull you out of that.
Right.
So that's really important to me, and that's the actor's training.
So let me ask you this question. So you wake up this morning and say, you know what? I want to start impersonating, pick whoever, just a name.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. From start to finish, when you say, I think I want to learn this voice to the point where you're comfortable doing it on stage or performing it.
Right.
What's that time span like?
That could be that could range from a week, really, if I pick it up really fast, to a couple of months. And there's that part you kind of mentioned it before. There's this thing where I can just nail a voice and I have it and it's in my hands.
Right.
And then there's other voices that are just like sand. I'm constantly trying to just keep the voice in. And oddly, I do Trump pretty much every single day, but it's a moving target,
Right.
because his voice is changing and his vocal patterns actually change, which is very interesting. But like once I got Austin Powers, it's like I can do Austin Powers in my sleep, baby. Yeah.
Well, so now that lends me to the next question. You've been doing this for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Obviously, Trump and Austin Powers are
Yeah.
probably your 1 and 2, I would say.
Yeah, they were 1 and 2, and like Dr. Phil's been a great perennial favorite. What were you thinking? Hey, I don't care how flat you make a pancake; it's got two sides. Okay, and him, I do a little more over the top.
Do you accidentally break into a voice without realizing it? Like if you're talking to somebody, hey, how's it going today? And all of a sudden Trump starts coming out. How
My
often?
own family has said, like, you realize you're talking like him all the time now, because my voice has gone down almost like a full octave.
Sure.
I've had to push
Bend
it
it down,
down
right.
to get that lower kind of register kind of thing. So I'm doing more of him, and a lot of the Northeast in my voice, the Philly, kind of New York kind of things, are coming out more freely now because I do him so much, and I'm in that Northeast kind of state of mind,
Right,
so
right.
to speak.
Sure.
I'm sure if I played like a Southern California character for 5 years every day straight, that would affect the way I speak generally. But I can even hear my own voice. It's much lower than it's been.
Go ahead.
With that note, do you find yourself in the car? No, but it's coming out Trump. As
Oh
you're
yeah,
jamming?
yeah. You can ask
That would be
Michelle.
kinda hilarious,
Yeah, you can.
you know?
I'll break into songs as him, and there's just so many. He's just in my head all the time, and even beyond the fact that he's the president, he is just so ever present on all platforms, on all news platforms. Every late night show talks about him. He's a unique individual in that respect.
Yeah.
And it was, and so and I'm always thinking, because now that I'm doing a lot of YouTube stuff and creating my own thing, I'm thinking, how would he
Right.
think about,
Right.
what would he think? Oh, soup. Oh, okay. Like when the whole thing with the soup came up.
Right.
So I'm always trying to think about, maybe I could put this together. So then because Michelle will just hear me walking around the house talking as Trump, trying to formulate a bit like that bit that you're going to play. Like I was walking around the house trying to say it out loud and putting it together with a beginning, middle, and an end. And then I just pull out my phone and start scripting it.
Right.
That's
And then it
awesome.
goes to
Yeah.
paper, and then I do a draft. And
So I'm going to throw you a curveball. By
Sure.
the way, I want to let Aaron know if you have some pictures of stills you want to pop up on the screen as we're talking, just do your thing. All right, I'm going to go off topic here. We know that this individual is quite the germaphobe, as it's been reported, and I'm
Yeah.
talking about one Howie Mandel.
yes.
Oh.
I'm not asking you to do this because you're bald like me and him.
Right.
But how would Howie Mandel react to what's going on in today's society with the virus and his germaphobe? Tell me, Howie, how are you coping right now?
Well, first off, deal or no deal. And this is a deal.
There it is.
Because I get to be clean all the time, and I don't need to do anything because my room has been, antibacterial, and I don't have to touch anyone, and I can wear a mask, and I feel so much better about that. So that's a deal.
There you go. Couldn't have that. There you go. Oh,
Yeah.
so there. Now we have a picture up of Nixon.
Well, yeah, David Fry. I had mentioned David
Yes.
Fry. The first album I ever bought was David Fry's A 4-Year Fantasy, and he did over 40 voices on it. And his second on that album was Gabe Kaplan. So
Welcome back, Cotter fame.
yeah, baby. But the greatest thing about that album is it has such a huge influence on me and kind of made me look at politics as this, spectacular show. That was in Hawaii.
That's so great how you look like him, too.
That's right.
And that's what I was talking about. The adoption of the character itself physically is as important as getting the voice down. That is so cool.
Is that your monkey?
Sean Connery?
I'm guilty.
Yes.
If I'm watching someone do voices, and even as far as if I'm at an animated movie, I want it to be that character.
Right.
I hate when someone tells me the voice behind the animation. It ruins
Right.
the whole flick for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's like
so
old-time radio.
important.
Old-time radio, you never had a background and able to see the faces with the voices.
Another Mike Myers character.
Love
that
Guru?
was the Love Guru. Yeah, that was so much fun. That was a movie that I think that was epic movie, and I got to be Guru. Can I say curse?
Yeah.
It's Guru Shitka.
Yeah.
Instead of Guru
Good.
Pitka. Yeah, that's right.
Well, we're FCC does not regulate the
That's
internet.
right.
So you're
You
fine.
never know. You
You're
never
fine.
know.
Zorro.
Zorro,
Now,
yes.
was that the real Zorro, or was that Zorro
That
the
was
gay blade
no,
played
that
by
was-
George Hamilton?
That was Antonio. That was
Antonio
Antonio
Banderas.
Banderas. So
Oh,
I
my.
could be sexy. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Guy, I'm driving the bus to Flavortown, baby. Love, peace, and taco grease. I love that character, man. I got to eat as much as I like.
As I'm going through the list, how did you get the chin? Is that a prosthetic?
That is a prosthetic that
Okay.
takes 2 hours
I don't doubt
to
it.
put
Whoa.
on.
Wow.
It takes forever. And that was made in New York by my special effects guy
Wow.
who built it to be anatomically, literally.
That's
as if
crazy
it
because
grew out of my
visually you
chin.
really do transform into very close Jay Leno.
Yeah. It's great. The blue contacts and obviously
All right,
Trumpy.
we'll end this right there on that picture because when we come back, we're going to actually dive deeper into how you got started as Trump, how it's come around, and kind of the history on what's going on with our President Trump via John D. Domenico, our special guest today on Time to Vegas. That's Gypsy. I'm Aaron, and you folks out there, we appreciate it. We'll be back in 60 seconds. Are you looking for someone to provide training to your sales staff? Do you need a motivational speaker about how to handle change? Do you have an upcoming event that needs an MC to handle those responsibilities? Well, look no further than longtime Las Vegas radio personality Aaron Phillips. I am local to Las Vegas and I can blend my talents with any audience. For more information, please visit www.aaronphillipsvoice.com and book me for your next event or training needs.
Come singing, yeah, yeah, yeah. Nighttime, hard to steal, neon lights, sex appeal. Welcome to fabulous Sin City. Money clip, newly.
Hello, everybody. We are back for Time to Vegas. I've taken the show over like I've taken over everything. It's going to be this is going to be the most highly rated episode. Every time I'm on something, it goes through the roof. It's going to be really, really incredible. Believe me.
I wouldn't doubt it. Thank you, Mr. President.
It's an honor for you to have me on your show today.
It certainly
I have
will.
to tell you.
Agreed.
We spared every expense to bring you in this morning.
That's right.
And we appreciate it. We appreciate that happening, even amid the fires. Anyway, absolutely. John D. Domenico, the number one Trump I didn't want to say impersonator. Usually tribute artist, but tribute. Yeah, I know. That's why. How would you call?
Don't say that. Oh my God, don't say
I
that.
hate that term.
Well, but the musicians who do like the Elvises, they call themselves tribute artists.
I know. It seemed like someone was like sitting around one night. Like, let's come up with a new name. We call ourselves tribute artists. It'll be great. They'll love it. I'm an actor. I'm doing this character. I approach him as a character. That is how I don't even like the term impersonator.
What would Captain Jack Sparrow think of our current president right now?
I'm going to fall off my Tortuga. Yes. I think he's doing a great job. Quite well.
Sober or
Yes.
non-sober?
Sober, of course.
I see.
Yes.
All right, let's get into it. You've been doing voices now for how long? Since 2004, you said?
I've been doing
since you were
voices.
5,
Yes,
but
since I was 5 years old. Professionally, I think I made my first $1 from a Sears delivery. 2 guys. I think they paid me to shut up. Just go away, hush money. Professionally, from the time I was in my early 20s,
Okay.
when I started doing stand-up and sketch comedy and things like that. But the interesting thing about Trump is I'm from the Philadelphia area.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be an actor, comedian in New York.
Right.
And I was trying to learn about New York, and I think you'll appreciate this.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to learn about New York. And in the mid-'80s, in I went to college in the Poconos, so I was like even closer
East
to
Stroudsburg,
New
right?
York, East Stroudsburg.
See, I
And
read your
went-
bio.
Oh, thank you. Not many people do.
Well, I went to
but-
Penn State, so anything in
Did
Pennsylvania.
you go to Maine
No.
campus?
I 2 years. I was
okay.
up in Barron for my first 2, and then junior and senior down at State College.
So I loved New York. I
Mm-hmm.
knew that my grandfather had come through New York. I love New York. I love New York City. That's where actors and comedians and all these things started. And I just wanted to learn more about New York. So in the mid-'80s, I was learning about it, thinking, I'm going to move to New York, which I eventually did.
Mm-hmm.
And the pop culture-wise, what's happening in New York right now? And a couple of names kept coming up. Like, Leona Helmsley.
Oh,
and
gosh.
Remember her?
Yes.
And
Killed her husband,
and there was
supposedly.
like this other guy, Donald Trump.
Right?
Donald Trump.
Big real
and
estate,
big
real estate tycoon
guy.
who
Yeah.
filed bankruptcy so many times he's even richer now. Right?
So it's like 1985, 1986. I'm going up to New York. I'm going to auditions. I'm hearing about Trump. He's kind of everywhere. He's in the press. He's on page 6. It's just interesting. This guy's popping up a lot. And I love business. Along with being a performer, I love business. And so
Right.
I work constantly, and I like business. I think it's interesting. I even like Death of a Salesman and plays
Oh,
about
wow.
American business. And one of my favorite movies is Network, which is about broadcast business.
Right.
But he kept coming up, and right around 1987, Art of the Deal came out. And my wife at the time bought me that for Christmas. I still have that to this day.
Wow.
So I had this interest in this guy, and then by the 88, 89, probably a year after I was working in Atlantic City. I started working in Atlantic City.
And Trump was big in Atlantic City, too?
Very big in Atlantic City. By 1990, I met him because I was doing a
Mahal.
show at his hotel.
Right.
I did his 55th birthday
Wow.
as Austin Powers. I jumped out of a
Oh, wow.
cake. So 3 of the hotels in Atlantic City where I was working a lot were his hotels. He was a real presence. I was traveling to New York for auditions. He was a big presence there. And it was just, if you remove Trump from the equation, if you were going to New York right now, is there someone you could point to who kind of exemplifies New York and business?
I would say at one time, Rudy Giuliani, perhaps.
Right,
Just has that
but
face.
he's a politician.
That's true, but he's also a business guy behind that. But
right.
You're right. There are
You're right.
very few names of that
the
New York
Astor,
area.
the Astors are gone.
Right.
The
But that's
Rockefeller.
if you're from
Rockefellers are
that
gone.
area, because even though I know who Rudy Giuliani is,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even watch it, right? Because his name doesn't carry as far as Trump's out
No,
to the
absolutely.
west.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So
Right.
yeah, you would have been limited.
So he was this kind of
Yeah.
ever-present person, and he was a personality. He was
Sure.
a personality in the beginning, and he was
Right.
trying to, obviously, he was putting himself out there. So he was kind of always in my head. I had met him a number of times, worked at his casinos and things like that. 2004, I got an audition, and an agent called me from New York and said, I know you do a lot of, off the mark kind of voices. I was always trying to specialize in tougher voices and
Right.
tougher characters. And they said, she said, are you doing Donald Trump? And I said, he's in my head. I said, I'm not really
Voices.
doing him, but I said, but give me 1 hour. And then I took pen to paper and I broke down his voice in elements. And I went, I think I can do this. I think I could do this voice because I know I'm from this part of the world. I've met him. I know that his voice was different than anybody else's. So I said, I can do this. At that time, the DVD box set of The Apprentice had literally just come out.
Oh, that's right.
So I hung up, drove to Barnes & Noble. Remember them,
Oh,
folks?
yes.
Yeah.
Remember them? They sold books. Remember books?
Sold what? No.
Yeah. So I actually bought the box set. It was 30 hours, and I religiously broke it
Wow.
down. And it was the bonus material that was the best because when you watched Trump on The Apprentice, it was like, blue team, green team, today you're selling popsicles. And that was pretty much, but it was the stuff where he was just talking like, I see you two, you like each other, right? She's very attractive. She's very, very attractive, I have to tell you. And it was that bonus, I was like, oh, this is who he is. So I went into the audition and I got it. It was for him. It was for Trump Taj Mahal. They were having a game called the Boardroom Game. So I sat and I booked it. I ended up sitting in a studio in Princeton, New Jersey for a week, and I recorded hundreds of lines, hundreds of phrases, and it would be, green team, you lost, you're fired. Both teams are doing great. And from what I understood, they were going to have a George Ross, the original Apprentice, and Carolyn Kepscher, and I met George Ross years later, there. And basically, Trump is supposed to be coming down from New York to Atlantic City. He gets caught. Folks, I'm sorry, I've got a huge deal happening here in New York, but Carolyn and George will walk you through the boardroom game, and I'm going to listen closely. And that was the whole thing. Right so, on. And then within a year, I went to Bob Kelly, and I have all these weird connections. So Bob Kelly did all the wigs for SNL, all the wigs for all the Broadway shows. He loved actors. He was a World War II veteran. He was just huge in New York. And Bob and I had become friends, and he used to let me hang out there, and I wasn't living there, and I could hang out in his office and watch his people make these wigs, these incredible wigs. It would take 90 hours to make. And I said, Bob, I need a Trump wig. I want to really start doing this character because calls were coming in now for the full Trump.
Effect.
Full effect.
Right.
And I said, so how much is a wig? And he goes, it's $7,000.
Whoa.
And this is like 2005, 2000. I was like, Bob, I'm an actor in New York. I don't have that kind of money. That's like a car.
Let me stop you there for one second.
Yeah.
So we have a question on the board since we're talking about New York.
It ties right into SNL. Greg wants to know, why are you not on SNL?
Because I'm not 23, probably. I worked with Alec Baldwin this year, and I've worked with one of the head writers from SNL. From what I understand, from what they've told me, my name has been brought up numerous times. Yeah, but I haven't gotten a call, so I'm not holding my breath.
Well, maybe after they see this show, you're on.
Absolutely.
We'll send this as the demo tape.
And at one point, the last time that Baldwin said he wasn't coming back,
Right.
there was some communication.
Gotcha.
But it really comes down to him not coming back.
Sure.
So, but Bob Kelly said to me, I said, $7,000, that's just too much. And Bob said, you don't actually have a Trump wig. And I said, why do you have a Trump wig? And he said, well, we just did a commercial and the production company returned the wig. And I said, wait, what is this? He goes, Trump's in a new commercial. It's a Visa commercial on top of the Chrysler building with the new Visa card. The card blows out of his hand. He has to go into a dumpster to get it.
So obviously we got a double there.
Yeah. Well, they had a body double. This is when all the bankruptcies were happening.
Right.
So the doubles, I got the doubles wig. And he let me do it in installments because he didn't have to make it from scratch.
Right. Did he give you a better price at least?
Yeah, he
partially used.
He knocked off $2,000 and he gave me like a year to pay it. And that changed that really changed my life.
Use wigs. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's go into business.
So
I hope you have more than one wig now, just in case.
I have 5 wigs now.
Okay.
I have 5 wigs now.
How many wigs in total though for all your different characters? You got
I have a room and I have like easily 50 wigs.
I was going to say,
can they be insured? Are they insured?
No,
like
because
under the
that's
house
a great question.
Insurance or something?
I couldn't do it under my house because this actually came up because my suitcase was stolen at Las Vegas at McCarran when I was coming back from a trip, and I lost $9,000 in wigs, makeup, and wardrobe, and the insurance company was like,
I'll go to all the drag shows. I'll keep my eye on it.
if someone's doing Trump,
They didn't steal it,
let
but that's
me
who it got
know.
sold to. That's
Let
all
me
I'm
know.
saying.
Greg Cantor's in
No.
the chat room, and I did not mention this one before, but he typed in the word Wooder,
Wooder.
and also he says,
Wooder.
my Philly buddy. Is Craig from that area? Greg Cantor?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
of course.
All right, well, I wasn't
Yes.
sure. So
There's
I
a
just-
singer here in town. You
Oh,
can
I know
catch
Craig,
him.
yes.
Yeah.
He's
a great guy.
Where he's usually down at the
Italian American Club, not
Italian
far from
American
here.
Club. That's right, right down there on
Very
the east side.
talented man. He's
That's
a great
right.
guy. He's
Yes,
a great guy.
he and I've not met him in person yet, but we've been connected on Facebook for a long time. So, I had a question about. By the way, we're closing in on 10 o'clock Pacific time, and I'm assuming that our producer here, who is also, by the way, kind enough to help arrange to get John on the show with us today, if we go a little bit over past the hour, I'm sure we're going to be okay. Is that correct, sir? That is
Yeah,
correct.
plus
So-
it's keeping us
Holy
safe
moly,
because
donuts.
it's
Holy
smoky
donuts.
out there.
That's
so-
true, and we're
Yeah.
inside. That's right. We're not
safe.
breathing it. So we're gonna go over a little bit. So what was the first public appearance where you were comfortable? Was it that audition for that board game? What was the first public appearance in camera, fully mocked up?
I did an appearance on. I've been doing him. I was one of the, as far as I know, I was one of the only people in the New York area doing him, especially full makeup and wardrobe.
Right.
And I got called. This is 2006, and I feel like I had gotten the voice by then, and it was for The Apprentice. And again, that's another weird connection. Trump was unavailable. There's a specific episode.
Did you sit in for him on the show?
I sat in for him. Yeah. So it was Embassy Suites. It was Embassy Suites, and they were on that night it was a Sunday, and they were on The Apprentice that night. And it was a cross promotion between The Apprentice and Embassy Suites, and they designed new uniforms, and he was unavailable. So I got called to come in as him. They pulled up in a limousine. I came in with a chef because that month at Embassy Suites, the breakfast was now the domlet instead of the omelet. And we promoted the cross promotion.
That is funny.
And they said, you're going to be on for one segment, you're going to do the promotion. And the people on Fox and Friends that morning were like, so I stayed for 3 segments.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
And that's when I knew, like, okay, I've got the voice down. I'm improving on
Right,
the money.
right.
Because they were, and that was the first TV appearance. That was 2006. That went out nationally. And then things started working. And I thought, okay, I really need to leverage this character. So I started coming up with the Apprentice game, which was scalable up to 150 people. I started doing corporate dinner, the after dinner speaker
Right.
as Trump. Then I came up with a corporate roast where I'd roast 8 of the top executives. So I just tried to figure out, so when people would book me for a national sales meeting, they would book Austin Powers to open it, Dr. Phil to do the town hall, Trump to close the
Wow.
the dinner, and then maybe Jay Leno for the award ceremony.
Right.
That was my goal, is to sell myself
Sure.
into the entire meeting and be gone for a week at a nice location.
Right.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and that's
Cool.
I always was trying to figure out, like, what's the next thing, and that was the beauty of Trump, because there weren't that many businessmen that were that entertaining.
Right.
So when the clients were looking at me and they were like, "Oh yeah, let's do Trump," everyone knows who he is, especially because of The Apprentice, and it went on for such a long run at that point.
Just want to remind everybody, we are at the top of the hour here at Pacific Time, about 10 a.m. We thank you all for watching. You are watching Time to Vegas, coming to you live from the Go Live Vegas studios right here in the heart of Las Vegas. Smoky Las Vegas, nonetheless, because of the
Right.
fires out in Cali. But
It tastes delicious.
that's right. You can actually chew the air today. We have a special guest today, John D. Domenico, joining us. He's the man of many voices, but of course, most notably, doing Donald Trump and sharing his insight and behind of how all this got started. And, this is an art form. And I can think on one hand, and I know I'm going to miss a lot of people. Growing up, for me, it was Rich Little.
Yes.
Fred
Travellina.
Thank you, Fred Travellina. There really weren't a lot of real talented voice people like yourself. I think you're in that category. There's no question.
Thank you. Appreciate
Especially what I love is the behind the scenes of what it takes to put a character together. That to me, just the mapping and the planning, because people tell me they like my voice. I listen to my
a
voice.
great voice.
Right, but people, do you like your own
It's a
regular
sexy
voice?
voice.
I hate it.
I get sexy voice. But you know what I mean? It's
You
like
what?
Exactly. Our own voice is kind of great on ourselves, but other people will like it. You, though, have this opportunity with all these voices to hide that person,
Right.
and present all these other characters and really bring them to life for people. Now,
Yeah.
I see names on your list like Groucho Marx. Now, I don't know how many people out there
my favorite.
even know who Groucho Marx is, But I mean, for me, I mean, you know, I know who he is. I watched his movies growing up as a kid. I'm a mid-'60s kid.
Yeah, it was Groucho Marx and the Marx Brothers, the whole anarchy that they brought were, and it's funny because I forgot to mention, along with Christopher Walken,
Right.
Groucho's part of my Trump.
Oh, okay, sure.
Because he was born on the Upper East Side, but he's got that same kind of, hello, I must be going. I came to say I cannot stay. I must be going. I'm glad I came, but all the same, I must be going. That's the sing-song element
Right.
to Trump's voice.
Right.
But, you know, say the secret. I mean, I watched Groucho on the game show that he did.
Oh,
The name
yeah,
escapes
Word of
me.
the Day.
Yeah,
but that was part of the game show. But I.
Say the secret word, $100.
We'll come
But
up with it. Our
he had a
crack, our crack producer will look up Groucho Marx's TV game show.
Right. You bet your life. You bet your life.
You bet your life.
You bet your life.
Thank
and
you.
he was just great, but he was great in the
Damn, you're
movies.
quick.
And, you know, the comedy that I love is comedy that holds up today. You can watch Groucho from the mid-1930s,
Right.
and he is still funny. Because they weren't presentational. They were live performers
Right.
who were doing this act on screen. And you know, a lot of people like, listen, you mug, and all that. They had that style. They are just as relevant now,
Right.
as they were then.
See, I grew up, my number one guy was Jerry Lewis. I was a Jerry Lewis
yeah,
guy.
of
Dean
course.
Martin. But my number
Yeah.
one movie was Cinderfella.
Yeah.
You know, the little dance he does around the queen at the ball.
Yeah.
I did that around my wife when we got married. That's how my, you know, not as good as Jerry did, of
Now
course.
I have to watch the movie.
That's right. Hey, ladies, call 702 329 6947 and we'll take your pledge. No, I love Jerry Lewis.
He was great, and he was such an innovator, and he was one of those people who made, you know, at a certain point, he made his own work.
Right.
He was a creator. You know, he had over 250 patents.
Wow.
I did not know
Like
that.
on what?
On everything, because he needed to direct himself in his movies. He was the guy who created visual assists for cameras. It was an immediate playback of a scene from a movie.
that
so
I
he
heard.
built a video camera inside a movie camera so he could see exactly what he did. The guy, I mean, to say he's a comedic genius, absolutely.
Right.
But he was
Wow.
really a technical genius.
He was an innovator.
He was an
That's
innovator and a
brilliant.
technical performer of like the highest
Yes.
the highest level, and a true clown, true pathos, true
And I don't think
comedy.
he got due respect here in the United States like it did overseas after a
I
while.
agree. I agree.
I still would love
agree.
to know the backstory and what happened with MDA, why he got into it in the first place.
Right.
And we know the backstory on the back end that they felt it was time for a change because there was some scuttlebutt, some comments he had made, derogatory comments about female actresses, you know, whatever.
Those, yeah,
But-
that's I think is just part of the times. You know,
Right.
you can only change so much.
That's very true.
Within your life.
Very true, especially a guy like him who grew up and from our neck, from Jersey,
Yeah.
you know, and
Who became insanely like one of the wealthiest performers
Yeah.
ever, and I think you become kind of insulated at a certain point.
702-329-6947, in case you couldn't interpret what I said as my attempt at Jerry Lewis. 702-329-6947. Please give us a call. Talk to John. Any questions, thoughts? We are still monitoring in chat room, but we'd love to hear from you live. Who are you working on right now? Any voices in the hopper?
You know what's interesting, and I think you can, people my age can relate to this. When I was a kid, there were 3 networks and there were 2
Right.
UHF channels.
That's right.
And
Click,
the
click,
world,
click, click.
yeah, and the world was a tiny place. And Ed Sullivan
Yeah.
got 1/3 of the audience, and when MASH went off the air, it got like 1/2 the population. We are in a point right now where things are so, and this is not political.
Right.
And we are just fracturalized as a community. You
Correct.
have like my nieces and nephews who don't even watch linear television. You
Right.
have people who just have Netflix. You have people who just watch HGTV. You have people who just watch Fox News.
I have Pornhub. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. Some of the greatest acting in the world. But the thing is,
Rumble.
it's harder to develop a new character that most
Casting couch.
people will know.
Sure,
So
sure.
one of the things, I'll do a voice for fun for myself, but if I'm looking to develop a voice that would be in front of an audience, I have to think, well, is this a corporate audience? They're going to be
Right.
25 to 45.
Or you have to apply
Are
it,
they going to
yeah.
know who this guy is?
Right on.
You have... I remember when I was doing Guy Fieri at an event, like, yeah, baby, we're driving the bus to Flavortown. Yeah, little piece of taco grease. And someone's like, can you get me some of the chicken that's back there? And I'm like, I'll bet, and I'm like, and they literally thought I was because I was near the food.
Sure.
And I just remember thinking I'm Guy Fieri, baby. They're like, okay, Guy, can I have the
That's right.
chicken?
I'll leave you a tip
back
on the table.
Yeah, and they don't know. And I remember the very first time that happened, I was doing Emeril Lagasse in New York, and there were that people who knew who he was.
Right.
And we're at a point now with certain people, certain characters. If the people who know them, and the people who don't. Where 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 45, 50 years ago, it crossed.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? It really crossed. And also,
A smaller group of stars. Yeah.
smaller group of stars
exactly.
and stars without a big personality.
Right.
I'm just going to go back. James Cagney, Humphrey Bogart, Henry Fonda,
Yeah.
James Stewart. These guys were like iconic, and
Right.
they spoke in a specific way, and that's why everyone impersonated them. You know, I'm a big Tom Cruise fan and a big Tom Hanks fan and all these other, but you know, like is there a phrase?
Right. Is there something
Yeah.
that they're noted
Is there
for?
something you can kind of like? People are saying to me all the time, "Are you going to be doing Joe Biden?" I'm like, "Well, I wish I could do his
There's nothing
voice.
to do.
There's nothing to do. He doesn't have any other than geez. You know, come on, that's a bunch of malarkey. There's really nothing to kind of put my
Sink
teeth into.
yeah.
Right.
And I talk to a lot of other voice people and voice artists, and everyone's like, I can't do this.
Right. Right.
It's frustrating.
sure.
So
All right.
you scored.
Yeah,
You
man.
got the
Oh.
number one person, right?
Unbelievable.
Early in the
Wow.
show, we teased a video of Donald Trump and Barack Obama having phone conversations, and I believe you have
Hilarious.
some video of that.
Yes.
So what I'd like to do is ask Arnold Schwarzenegger at this time to step up to the microphone and maybe do a little backstory on this video and what it's all about.
Listen to me now, need me later. These
Don't be
These are-
ridiculous.
these are on Conan. I made a lot of appearances on Conan, and this is a special conversation between President Trump and President Obama.
All right, let's
Back
roll
to
the
the
video.
chopper.
How long is the video? But no, we're not ending this. Oh, you want to play it at the end? How long is
okay.
the video? How long? 13
Oh,
minutes.
yeah,
And you
yeah.
want to keep that on the air? I was just going to play a couple of minutes. Okay, never mind. So that's a
Tease.
That's right. That's a tease. So
It's
at
a
the end, we're going to go
teaser.
out on that when we're ready to close. That's a 13-minute video. That'll be fun to watch. Any other questions that you have coming up?
I don't. That was awesome.
Oh, thank
that
you. This was
was,
great.
I'm-
Thank you so much.
I'm
for
not
having
trying
me.
to. I'm not trying to
June said-
prematurely end the show. I
Oh
just
no
didn't know
no
if there's
no
a-
no.
I say like
Yeah.
my friend June said, thank you for those smiles. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
We were laughing before we even came on. You know what I mean?
That is
It
very
was
true.
Awesome.
That is very true. Okay, so President Trump, how did you spend Labor Day weekend?
Well, I'll tell you, I was traveling around this absolutely tremendous company.
Country?
I say company? Country.
Okay.
Country.
Now, did you have
country.
good company with you?
I had a great company with me. I had my incredible team, and I love this country. It's a great country, fantastic country, and we're gonna win. We're gonna win in November 3rd, which is very close, very close. We're getting rid of the Electoral College and replacing it with Trump University, and
Oh.
everyone's going to get a free class.
very-
Everyone's going to get a free class. It's going to be incredible. I have to
What-
tell
what-
you.
what's the
Teach
class?
us how to vote.
Right.
Teach you how to vote, exactly. That's what everyone gets. We're going to teach you how to vote. Vote for Trump.
Or to
Trump
register
2020.
first before you teach.
No need, no need. You can vote twice, by the way. Vote early and often.
Well, did you
That's
get
what
rid
I
of the
always say.
Chads? Because there's a lot of mail-in ballots.
That's in
so-
Florida. That's in Florida, which I'm
Okay.
going to win. I'm going to win by a Trump slide in Florida. Florida is so red. It's so red. It's so red it's sore, if you know what I'm saying. It's such a red state.
There's
we have
ointment
the
for that, by the
beautiful.
way.
We have the beautiful Mar-a-Lago there. Now, I would love for you to be a member.
That'd be
It's
great.
$300,000 initiation, but for you, I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm knocking off $50.
Wow, that's a Jewish discount if there ever was one.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love the Jewish people. Great people, fantastic people.
So, what's your thoughts on sports doing these attendance-free games at this point?
Well, you know, I wish people could be there because the athletes, they need that energy. They need the people there to root them on and yell for them. And you got to sell the hot dogs for $25 and the soda for $17. And you got to get we got to get the economy going. We got to get the economy going. You know, I think everyone can go and be responsible and go see a baseball game before the season ends.
Now, you're coming to Vegas this weekend,
Saturday,
you said?
Reno and Las Vegas.
While you're in town, will you be stopping over at the beautiful Allegiant Stadium that will house our new Las
we're
Vegas
gonna,
Raiders?
We're going to fly over it. We're going to fly over the.
Okay.
We're going to fly right over it. Bring
Close
in Air
enough.
Force One. we call it Air Force One. That's what I call it.
Does it have a wig on top?
It does a beautiful wig because I have incredible hair, such amazing hair.
That's
I
right.
have to tell you.
Who does your hair, by the way?
Me.
You
I'm
do
up
all your-
early every morning and I do it.
How much
No
hairspray?
one touches that. No one. A lot of hairspray.
Any
A
glue?
lot of-
Any
I
glue?
put a hole in the ozone the size of Greenland.
All by
and
yourself.
I don't care.
There's, Mr. President, there's a question that came up there in our teleprompter, which of course I know you're used to reading from.
I love.
What-
No one
what-
reads teleprompters the way I read teleprompters.
So why don't you read that question and perhaps you can
How
answer
long
that
does
for
it take for you to get into Trump, start to finish? It takes over an hour. An hour because I have to. Getting the wig on is the hardest part because I have to glue that on, and it's got to be. I've got to get it right.
I watched the video last night. You were doing a corporate event, and it was in an art gallery. And your opening question when you got to the stage was, "How many Mexicans are in the audience?"
Yes, it was. Oh, but you know what that was for? That was for Apple Vacations. That was the Mexican group.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but part of that you did with NBC Nightly News, it was a feature with them. You're in your hotel room and you're putting your wig on and you're gluing down the sides and how long in the spray and everything. So, I believe I watched the whole thing. That was crazy.
They spent 2.5 days with me. I was really flattered.
I bet they were real happy.
Yeah, but that it's so funny. The other day I was shooting and I don't know what happened. I put the wig on and it was like this, and I said to Michelle, I was like, I cannot believe this. I've applied this wig thousands of times, and somehow I put it on wrong. Like you go on autopilot sometimes, and you can't. You cannot.
Do you have it like say front, back, sides?
I just was like, I cannot believe I did this because once you take it off, it has to be. You have to remove the glue.
You got to clean it up.
It's got to be reset. It's got to be restyled. Like,
One final question for me as we get ready to close out. Give me your Mount Rushmore of comedians. I don't care if it's impersonators, comedian, whatever. Just give me your Mount Rushmore.
my Mount Rushmore.
Try it again.
My Mount Rushmore is for me. David Fry goes on there because he was such a huge impact on me. Then George Carlin.
Oh, yeah.
Because I never left. It was so brilliant. Richard Pryor, because I never heard anyone talk about themselves and make it a lot of painful stuff.
Sure.
And he was amazing at that. And Jim Carrey, because he showed you that you could just go to the highest level with acting and comedy and voice, and he was a voice guy.
Yes, he was.
Voice guy first, who said, I can't do this anymore. I want to do this. And he changed his career.
Right, absolutely. Oh, that's cool. That's an interesting mix. A lot of fun today, dude.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can't wait to anything upcoming that you do. I know you said you're recording stuff, but
I'm always recording stuff. People can find me on Cameo if they want a personalized message for any occasion. Find me on Cameo. I have an event in Newport Beach.
What's Cameo?
Oh, Cameo is like a platform where there's a lot of celebrities, actors, sports figures.
it's a video.
Reality.
It's like a video.
It's a video. I'll make a video for you, and we do it through that.
So cameo.com?
Cameo.com.
Okay.
Yep, and just put my name in. Thank you. Cha-ching. Cha-ching. And that's keeping me alive. All my stuff on YouTube is all there. Watch it, like it, comment. And I have a show in Newport coming up. And there's the possibility of a TV thing. But that's,
Don't
I never
jinx it.
like to talk about
Yeah,
it
don't
because,
jinx it.
but there's if it wasn't COVID, I'd be crisscrossing the country like all the other performers. And I just want to do a shout out to all the Las Vegas performers who cannot work, and it breaks my heart. I'm very lucky because I have a TV studio in my house and an audio studio, and I've always done a lot of this stuff. But a lot of my friends who aren't working, my heart goes out to them.
Right on.
When you can go see somebody like Kenny Davidson at the Tuscany or Ann Martinez or any of these other people that I know, please go see them. Go have a drink, sit down and watch their show. Let's get live performances back as much as we can. My friend Kelly Vaughn sings all over town. I want people to go out and support them. It can be done safely, but this town is built on entertainment,
Yes,
and that's
it
what we
is.
have to do. is get out and support these people.
And on top of that, let's do a shout out for the Bronx Wanderers.
Yes. Yeah, another perfect example.
September 11th, they're going to have a live stream on thespacelv.com. It starts at 6 p.m. Pacific. It's only $20, you guys, to watch. Let's support them. It's going to be the entire band, and they have it's a new show. So it's not one all you fans have seen, so let's support them. And September 11th is, I think, only a couple days away. So let's do it. Let's
It's Friday,
see you there.
right? It's Friday?
Yes.
Friday. Perfect. There
And,
you go.
and I'm
6
glad
p.m.
they're doing it on September 11th.
Yeah, yes, it is
To
a
kinda
tribute.
take our minds
it's a
away.
tribute.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah,
Hey,
please.
no. Well, it just
Anyway,
came to
go
me.
to their fan page and you'll see Vin A talking about it. Perfect.
That's our ending music.
That's our music.
Mr. President,
Trying to tell us
thank you so much
something.
for joining us today.
Thank you so much. This was absolutely fantastic for you, too.
It was, absolutely. More importantly, John D. Domenico,
Thank you so
so
much.
for
Thank
coming
you
this
for
morning.
having me on. This was really awesome.
So I'm glad you had a
this
good-
worked out.
Absolutely.
We're going to leave them with that clip.
Yeah, we're going to go out with the video.
You guys got to watch it.
Final
It's very
thoughts
funny.
as we go to the video.
Watch it. You know, you're going to miss a great opportunity to laugh your butt off.
Next week's guest right here on Time to Vegas, Tema Hammond. She is the founder of GoldenNetwork.tv, as well as, let's put it this way, folks, she has lineage dating back to, oh my goodness, the Tramp.
Wow.
Charlie Chaplin?
Charlie Chaplin.
Wow.
Yes, her grandfather was a stand-in for Charlie Chaplin back in the day. Jeez,
Oh,
I'm sorry,
wow.
Tema. Anyway, she'll be here with us next week. Anyway, enjoy the video as we go out of Donald Trump's voice and Barack Obama having some conversations. I'm Aaron. That's Gypsy. That's John Double D. Aaron E. on the board. As always, folks, be kind to each other. Why is that? We're all we got. Enjoy the video. We'll see you next week right here on Time to Vegas.
Sex and we own this town, singing yeah, 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 kiss and tell. Let's go all the way, 'cause we're here to play.
Hello, Barack, it's Trump. You know those gold medals you give out?
Presidential Medals of Honor?
Yeah, can I give them to anyone I want?
Well, there's a process.
I want to give one to Guy Fieri and all the girls from the GoDaddy.com commercial.
Hello?
Quick question, Kazakhstan.
What's your question?
What is it, some kind of a meat dish?
Kazakhstan is a country in Central Asia. It's bordered by China and Russia.
Gotcha. Follow-up question, do we need it? Hello. So, what do you have in the White House for toilet paper? Cottonelle, Charmin, Angel Soft?
I don't know.
I have to tell you, that quilted northern is terrific.
That's not really something I know much about.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm going to fly back to New York for all of my number twos.
Hello?
Now, how do I make a bill into a law?
Well, first Congress has to pass the bill.
Who's Congress? Am I Congress?
No.
Is Ivanka Congress?
No, she's your daughter.
She's hot, right?
She's a very attractive young lady.
You dog, you. I'm telling Michelle. Put her on the phone.
You know who I think you should call is German Chancellor Angela Merkel.
Angela Merkel? Are you kidding me? I'll call her if I have a boner that needs to go away.
Hello?
Barack, it's Trump. Another question. The guys in the black robes.
The Supreme Court?
Yeah, are they like my Severus Snapes? Can they cast spells for me? Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who?
Who?
Obama. I think there's an owl eavesdropping on our call.
Very good.
I'm not kidding. I think a spy owl is listening to us.
Donald, you're... What do you mean?
Oh, Putin wants to get tigers.
I never owned any tigers.
Seriously? No tigers? That's nuts.
Hello? Hello? Donald, is that you?
Yeah, sorry. I was just tying my shoe.
Hello?
Okay, listen to this. It's going to blow your mind. What's a Milky Way? It's a Snickers without peanuts.
Okay.
Three Musketeers, it's a Milky Way without caramel.
Right.
Well, they're just subtracting ingredients and calling it a new kind of candy. I'm angry, Barack.
It's no big deal, Donald.
Who do I talk to? The Secretary of Candy Bars?
There's no such person.
Not yet, there isn't.
Hello?
Barack, it's me, Donald. Full disclosure, you're on speakerphone.
Okay, who's there with you?
Melania's here. Say hi, Melania.
Please help me.
Hello?
It's Trump. I just looked at a map of our border with Mexico. It's really long. There's no way I can build a wall that long.
That's what I've been saying.
What if we just put up a force field like they did in Star Wars?
That's science fiction.
You know, I really liked episode 1. That was my favorite. That Jar Jar thing, he's one of the good ones. I want to assassinate Fidel Castro.
You can't.
I can. I know a guy who knows a guy.
No, you can't because Fidel Castro already died earlier this week.
Really? Huh? Sounds like you know a guy who knows a guy.
I didn't assassinate Fidel Castro.
Sure you did, Barry. Barry's an assassin. Outstanding. You whacked this guy. That's so New York. I gotta tell you. Outstanding. Really
I gotta go, Donald. Hello?
Bear, what are the nuke codes?
Well, it's a very complicated series of protocols.
I'm going to make it 7. That's it. Just 7. That way I can remember it. Iran acts up, 7. Boom.
Jesus.
Barack, I need your advice.
Of course, shoot.
How does this sound? Jackie Chan as the Secretary of Self-Defense.
Donald, that's not even a real person.
It's already done. Bear, I have to say, you're one of the good ones.
That's incredibly condescending and racist to tell a black person they're one of the good ones.
Black person? No, I meant Muslim. Hey, Melania, you want to sleep in my room tonight?
Donald, this is Barack.
Barack!
Obama. I think you dialed the wrong number.
Oh, sorry, Barack. You want to sleep in my room tonight?
Goodbye. Hello?
Barack, stay on the line.
What are you doing?
I'm calling Kim Jong-un. I'm conferencing you in.
No, that's a bad idea.
Come on. I'm going to do a funny Asian voice.
Listen, you can't just go talking to the leader of Taiwan.
I will be totally honest with you. I didn't realize Taiwan was a real country.
You didn't?
No, I just figured it was like China's own version of Chinatown or something.
Hello?
Hey, who gives the State of the Union speech this year, you or me?
There isn't one this year.
No? Then how about we give one together? We could finish each other's sentences.
I don't really think...
That I was born in